Hello, everyone. What a time to be alive. Welcome to the Stadia Hour. This is your boy Rick Tone. And on this installment of the Stadia Hour, I wanted to go over a premise I brought up in my last video. I think this is the last generation for physical consoles. And before you go nuts in the comment section, listen, I honestly believe that. And I want to do this now so there's receipts. So when this is proven to be right, there's receipts of me saying this. I know there's a lot of people that are glued to their consoles and they think this is the end all be all. But I honestly believe these companies are all prepping to go to the cloud. And I got a lot of evidence for that. So just stay tuned. Alright. So with this, I wanted to give you guys some evidence why I think that. And what I'll point to, I just wanted to show you. I'll start with the article. There was a NASDAQ article. This was a couple months ago. It was about, it's called Market to Market. They predict that the global cloud gaming market is expected to reach 3.1 billion. That's a compound annual growth rate. So that's nothing to scoff at, 3.1 billion. So it has a compound annual growth rate of 59%. This is between 2019 and 2024. So in that, I would say in that 5-year stretch, that's what's predicted to be. You can't scoff at NASDAQ. These guys see market trends. A lot of insider things too. They know more than us. They know where a company's going. They know where the industry's going. And cloud gaming and just cloud infrastructure, I think it's going to be huge. And we can see with the whole COVID situation that being able to do things remotely is going to be a high priority in the future. I think all businesses are going that way. Schools are probably going to try to do reopenings and things like that, maybe smaller reopenings. But I could see going forward that there's online schools. And online schools have been a thing, but I think going forward there might be hybrids. So that was just one thing I saw. And I saw that article and I was like, well, I'm thinking it can't just be Stadia. It's just going to be an Amazon. Amazon hasn't said anything yet. But I started doing some research. And there are some other cloud gaming and cloud services. I'm just going to go through a few. There's xCloud we know of, which is supposed to launch in November alongside Xbox One. And I'll stop there a little bit because Xbox, they just want out of... If you follow Microsoft, the company, and I used to have Windows Phone, I had Windows computers. When they started doing Ultrabooks, I was one of the first people to get those 2-in-1s. Listen, they want out of the service department. They want out of hardwares. If you watch them, they just want to be a service company because there's more money that way. OneDrive, where you put your storage, they started doing that. They closed down all the Microsoft stores. They only have the corporate stores open. That's about 3 in the whole world. So all the other physical pop-up stores, those are gone. Maybe they do a booth around holidays, but Microsoft, they definitely want out of the hardware business. They don't want to lose money. They have shareholders. They just want to make their money off of Microsoft Word, sell you Xbox Live. Maybe they sell you a subscription that you can access their devices, their service everywhere, all their games, movies, things like that. They just want to. I think it's better for them, just that overhead. It's just like Amazon. Amazon just is now having products. They just sold things, no middleman. You just buy direct from them, and it's way cheaper. And I think that's what these companies want to do. They're saying, just people don't really care. I think games like Fortnite prove that people don't really care. Especially, there's a group like me, I like graphics and stuff, but younger generation, they don't care about graphics. They just want to play and their friends are on there. They can buy a cool emote and it's culturally accepted. That's a big thing too. Culture is a huge seller. I notice people aren't as individualistic as my generation. This generation, everybody wants to get along, go along. So it's like, oh, this game is cool. It doesn't matter if it looks great. A game like Fortnite, I don't enjoy playing it, but I can see the appeal. Like, it's just one thing gets popular and then everybody plays it. A game like that should just be solely in the cloud. Just iterate on it, because everybody's had access to it. But I said the thing with Microsoft, and so they're getting out of that. Close the stores. They got rid of Mixer, so they basically just partner with somebody. They want to just put everything just into the cloud, and I think a lot of those companies are going that way. They got all those studios, and you might think, oh, with all those studios, oh, they're gonna go to the next Xbox. Listen, I'm telling you, it's those studios are gonna be porting their games to the browser. I'm just saying all this stuff now so people aren't shocked, and this video can be there to stand the test of time. I'll get to what I think consoles are gonna be. I'll get to that, but I'm just going through these cloud gaming platforms that are out here now, and some that are in the works. We all know the other one, GeForce Now. That's made by Nvidia. What are Nvidia known for? They're known for making hardware or hardware parts. Like you can get those blades and you put them in your computer, like really high powerful stuff. So why do you think they would be going to the cloud? Why would they undercut their own market? Because everything is going that way. You want to get testing now. You want to get your software polished, so that in the future, if people are going away from those expensive blades, those 2060 Ti, 2080 Ti, it's just technology. Like someone might make a 3000 Ti, but to mass produce it, to get that out there. But if you just make it and you just start putting that in the servers, everybody has access to it immediately. So I think Nvidia would not be undercutting their own market if they didn't see where the market trends were going. People aren't making their PCs anymore. It's still there. That's why it's gonna take a decade or so. But I honestly believe that's where it's gonna go. Just in gaming, it's just taking longer than others. CDs, and people still hold on to their CDs. I bet you somebody's out there with cassette. Maybe they just love the sound or rewinding the cassette. But I just see where technology is going, and I honestly don't see it lasting another decade. Like another console generation, I just don't see it. So GeForce Now in itself, they give you these, they really give you clues. If you really look into it, if you're smart enough and you're looking into it, you're like, wait, something is on the horizon. And even there's this company called Boosteroid. They're another cloud game. They look similar to GeForce Now. You can sign up for those now, and that works on through Apple devices too. I don't know how that's worked. Somehow they've went under the Apple radar. They don't restrict them at all. But yeah, that's another one. So guys, you can check out that Boosteroid. Good amount of games on there, probably 50, 60 games. So they're getting a good amount of support. There's another one called GameStream. This is a cloud gaming, but this one is not your typical. This one is through like hotels. Like say if you go to a hotel and you want to play some games, you could just sign on to one of the computers and GameStream will be doing that. They're getting crowdfunded right now. They've gotten a lot of people on board. They got Disney. They got a lot of big partners on board. So don't be surprised you go into like any place where you're staying a good amount of time. Hotels, bed and breakfast, resorts, maybe even a gas station, like the big gas stations. Maybe instead of those arcades, you go there, nobody's there because everybody got phone games. But imagine you could sit, maybe you got an electric car you're charging for 30 minutes, You're playing a game, or you go inside when you get your oil change. It takes like 2 hours sometimes for some reason. Imagine you're just playing like Call of Duty right there, or Destiny 2. Boom, right there in the place. Because I even went to a car dealership the other day. They had like a restaurant. So something like that, it wouldn't really cost the company a lot. That's actually a great service game stream where it's like they're not competing with what Amazon and Google are doing. They're just going for industries. So that's another thing why I think all those blades are going to be used. And even I bet you someone's even going to have blades that they sell, servers that they even sell. Or don't be surprised if Google just sells servers where other cloud platforms can use their servers. I'm telling you, this is the world of big business. So don't get so attached to your physical media. I saw this coming a while back. I was one of the first people to get my Seagate hard drives. I was one of the first people to have those because I kept losing. That's when computers are really bad. So your computers crash, viruses. It's just going on a website. You just get random viruses. And your computer would just always crash. You have to restart it. Whole music collection long. So I started getting hard drives back in, I would say, the early 2000s. Yeah, I started getting hard drives. I was one of the first people. Nobody had those. I had my music, but I mean, I'm telling you, if your computer even like nudged a little bit, it would just start over. When you're trying to transfer speeds were dreadful. It would take ages to transfer like 20 songs. But yeah, so that's where I think it's going. That's just a few. That's honestly just a few of them. There's honestly some more, but I gave those examples. And another thing that's gonna help is dev kits in the cloud. Like, if anyone doesn't know what dev kits are, like if someone wants to develop a game for Xbox Series X, they'll get a kit. It might not look really pretty because it's just for development, but they'll get a big hardware. It costs thousands of dollars, so they'll get the hardware, but they can plug into it. They can connect it to the computer. That's where they start developing games for that particular platform. But something like Stadia, they just develop in the cloud, so it's just cheaper. It's cheaper right off the bat. You're saving a couple thousand off development right there. And that brings me to the other point. We heard of Project Chimera. I talked about this a couple podcasts ago. It's machine learning, so it can decrease dev team sizes. So instead of having 60 people on a game, somebody calls out sick. Even with Anthem, if you follow the Anthem game development, they were doing really good with development early on, but the lead dev had died. So it kind of really derailed the project. It was tough to recover from that. We see what happened with that game. So imagine this, where it's a smaller dev time. Imagine having a team of 10 to create like a ESO, you know. And the dev time, a lot of dev time people don't understand. It's not, they can make the game, they can make those projects, those stuff, they can make all of that stuff fairly quickly. But it's the testing, it's the it's things like balancing, especially if it has PvP in it. That's gonna take hours of balance, or just level design. Just like, is this fair or is this not fair? But when you have machine learning that can do this stuff probably 10 times faster than any humans, it cuts down on size. So you can have more games. You can have more AAA games. This is all in development with Stadia, but if they could have that technology, maybe help others, or maybe people always copycat technology. If someone else can do that, you can get games out quicker. Sometimes you just see, like, we had the Xbox press conference a couple of days ago. You see these games, Fable, you see a little teaser. Imagine seeing gameplay right now, and they're like, "Oh, see you in November. The game's coming out." That would revolutionize gaming more than anything. It's just getting the games out. Halo right now, Infinite. We're just waiting so long to see what happens with that. Um, just and they still gotta polish up that game. It's just because of that. I'm telling you, it's just they probably putting so much time on PvP balancing, and I'm telling you, it's just If one of these technologies comes out, honestly think it's gonna make cloud gaming the way to go. Think about big companies. They know hardware. After you might keep it for a while. Like Apple, this happened with Apple. Apple they made iPads, right? iPads were so good, right? Nobody bought new ones. So now the it just brought down the price. A new iPad right now is $329. What people are paying $500-$600 for, it's $300. It just has bigger bezels. You know, you're not trying to do you're not trying to do like computer programming on it. It's great because they had to bring the price down because people weren't adopting new ones. You had a tablet and it just you have it for a while. That's it. But a service, if you look at it, you pay $10 a month, right? Let me make sure this is right. $10 a month times 12 months. That's 120, right? You times that by 3 years. That's 360. I've easily paid that with Netflix. I don't remember the last time I canceled Netflix. So you think about that. That's over $350, right? For 3 years. That's more than the iPad. You buy the iPad once, maybe you never even buy into the ecosystem. You just buy it. You don't buy it for another 5 years. That company is losing out. Let's put this times 120 times 5 years. That's $600. So you think about that. That's a $600 profit. With service, the service industry, you'd make way more. So that's why a lot of these companies push to the service model. You see Amazon Prime, they throw a lot of stuff in it. They don't really care. You get movies, you get everything, because once they add up that money, you're spending way more. You spend so much more in the service model. But that's one. And I was doing some research too. And I know people probably thinking like, oh, with cloud gaming, it's internet. Oh, do I have internet? What's it called? Limits, and am I gonna get overpriced? Listen, I think right now, especially with COVID, internet usage, companies are gonna have to. I don't know if they're gonna privatize that, like government has to take over or give funding. Especially kids are gonna need the internet. It's gonna be like water. It's really gonna be it's like human rights almost to have access to the internet. And I believe that a lot of Congress, if you listen to Congress, is boring, but a lot of them, they're making a push for that it should be a human right. So I think internet usage, there shouldn't be any limits. There shouldn't be any overages with internet usage. It's got to be uncapped, and I could see that happening. And they'll do some research. There's an Australian research team that they've gotten an internet speed optical chip, right? Capable of 44 terabits capability. So imagine 44 terabits. I don't even know how much that is in gigabytes. That's ridiculous. We have a gigabit, that's 1,000 gigs, right? 1,000 gigs basically. So that's gigabit internet. If you have that, you're a boss. Like you can do anything. But imagine 44 terabytes. I think this is per second too. It's just ridiculous. So technologies like that are just on the pipeline. I would go out on a limb and say the government has access to things like this already. They hear stories like that, they're just scooping that up. That's privatized already. But those stuff always trickle down to your everyday person. And imagine having internet speeds capable of that. You won't have any issues. You'll be downloading movies in seconds. Like literal seconds. And that's what technology does. Technology is nothing to be afraid of. Just imagine, look at all the stuff we download now. Like, when's the last time you've had an issue downloading images? Never. Can't remember last time, But I remember that with dial-up, it was painful just to get an image. Oh my god. Oh my god. It was like an arm and a leg to get simple JPEGs. So I'm looking forward to that. And I would say that's probably the next 5, 6, 7 years. That's probably on the latter end of the 10-year prediction. That's probably on the latter end. And another thing is the investments around the world. And you got to think, these companies want money. Not money, money. Like, think about it. You have to think about this right now. And you look at emerging markets, and I'm talking about, if China would let people like just, play games more. India is a huge emerging market. There's 1 billion people in India, so you got to think whatever percent of that is going to be huge that are gamers and possible gamers. Or Brazil, other parts of South America. And Google alone is investing $10 billion over the next 7 years in infrastructure. So that's building stuff like towers. This is in India. But there's also plans for other parts of the world. And this is just Google. We're not talking Facebook. We're not talking all these other companies. They want to get everybody online. The more you're online, this in Google's case, the more you're making the money. You're going to search. You're going to be on ads. You're going to go on YouTube. You're going to search for a video. You're going to be redirected to YouTube. And you're going to have ads. And they're going to make more and more money. The internet is a cash cow. So you got to think about that. And you got to think. Anyone that opposes what I'm saying, telling me, if you research emerging markets, these people aren't living in wealth here. And I'm being nice. If you ever see them take the train in India, people just like laying on top of the train. So dangerous. But what are you going to do? They aren't going to have $500-$600 consoles. Let's be real for a second here. But you know what they do have is a phone. And I just want to open people's eyes up. All people can afford is a phone. And if you can make that infrastructure better, imagine getting 5G over there. Or a robust 4G element. This can be huge dividends. Imagine people going on. You put Stadia on any Android phone, because Android phone is all over the world. I know some people in America think like, oh, people have iPhones. No, iPhones are luxury items. You can get like a $300 iPhone here. You can sell it for a king's ransom overseas. It's huge over there. So you kind of have to get out of that bubble of what you see now, what you've seen in the U.S. You kind of have to think a little deeper there. Start doing your research. But yeah, people have phones, and I looked at this 4G or that you can play Stadia on 4G. I tried it too, but I wasn't in a good spot. But I could imagine if I was in a good spot, I could probably have a robust time. So people like that, imagine them like, they got a decent signal. Maybe they're at a cafe. There's a lot of like cafes overseas and stuff. Imagine them at like a great cafe, and they're like just playing Cyberpunk, a game that they could never play, never afford. And I just think people have forgotten about that. The possible gamer, or I call it the gamer that could, in that term. There's people that just wish that they could play. They really wish that they could, enjoy the things that they see other countries are enjoying. And I think this is a way. I think even philanthropically, it's a great way for people to, the other billion gamer, as it were, to enjoy something. It doesn't have to be, oh, I got the latest this, I got the latest that. I think those companies they've pitched us together. Like, we just have to fight all the time. Because someone bought $500, another person paid $500 for their console, and you gotta prove which one's better. And none of them do anything differently. You play a game on PS4, it plays the same on Xbox. Maybe a couple pixels, but that's one thing I respect with Stadia. At least you got screen share. I really like that, especially in Division 2. It was kind of nice. You see what the other person's doing. You can see if there's a guy sneaking up on them. It was kind of that's cool. That's brings them to the table. But I feel like we've just let these companies off. They just produce the same game. They don't offer anything. You're just people battling online. Which system's better? I never told anyone that Stadia's better. I never do that. I never do that. I'm even considering getting one of the next gen consoles, just for certain reasons, just maybe multiplayer reasons, you know. But at the end of the day, say something comes up, I'm like, I'm at home. I'll spend some money on something else, you know. There's no pressure. Especially, I hate being the guinea pig of the first system. Sometimes those are being rushed. You know, I'm just gonna guess those are being rushed right now. Wherever these systems are made, I don't think they're made in a factory in America. So just hopefully the conditions are really good for these systems to be made. So so it's just tough getting the first one, and then it breaks, and the fans irregular, and fan gate or something, and it's all funny when you see people make those videos like, who messed up in the next gen? You're sitting at home, can't play the latest games. It's I really hate that, but not wishing that. Because I am thinking about getting one of those. System. I'll probably do a video on that. With system, like from a Stadia person's perspective. They're thinking about a console. Which one would they get? But they gotta release prices. Kind of sucks doing a video on that. They don't release prices. But but I would say that's it to get the other billion gamer. The average gamer and the lapsed gamer, which is, people forget about that. People go off and have a life. People get married. And, the first couple years of marriage, you probably don't want to take out your game system. You kind of want to like ease your way in, like a guy's point of view. I don't know a woman, but like, you wanna give your attention and stuff. But years go by, and you kind of need that hobby. Especially men need that hobby. We human beings, we need a little hobby, and gaming suffices for that. You can experience so much without leaving your home. So the lapsed gamer benefits from cloud gaming more, because what's the worst thing you can tell a lapsed gamer? Hey man, you want to play? And they're like, yeah man, this game looks cool. Maybe at a get together, they're like, oh yeah, this game looks cool. Then they're like, oh, how much to get in? $450. They're gonna be like, dude, I got rent, man. And they probably have the physical money, but they're like, I'm just gonna play like twice a week. You don't know, like they don't know that they might play an hour, and then that hour becomes 5 hours. Then they start making time. It's a priority. But come on, you don't know that going in. And the best way to get in is just, it's free. It's $9 a month, $5 a month. This is gold. I can play on my phone. Cool. I'm at work. I'll test it. I got an hour break. Let me just sign up with my work computer. That's how you get the lapsed gamer. And I've seen that a lot. My time on Stadia, when I've been going to Discord trying to find people to play, that's where you come across a lot. That's where you can get a pulse of who plays cloud gaming. And you have people saying like, oh yeah, I'm on a PS4 clan, I'm on an Xbox clan, but the loading is just so good over here. I can just play. Or I'm at work, I could just that's why crossplay is just essential. It really is essential, because think about these services. I'll give my caveat. Services, you don't have to have them. You didn't make a huge investment. You can cut it off for a month, come back later. That's the plus of having a service. You have to buy a console, and then you're like, I gotta get every game because I spent $500, so you kind of have to just invest in it. You're kind of like stuck, So, but with a service, it's cool. You can just cancel, get out whenever, and things like that are impressive for lapsed gamers. I was over someone's house the other day. They had a PS3. And the game didn't look too dated. That's why I'm kind of like, did games come a long way? I don't know. I'm just like, were we fooled? That's another video for another day, but it just seemed pretty okay. Frame rate, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I think we have to ask for more from these gaming companies, but that's a whole other thing. But that's what I was thinking, guys. That's really what I was thinking. And just be on the lookout for all these studios being bought, and a lot of them are mobile game preferred. You see a lot of these studios have a lot of history in mobile games. Like when I see Stadia doing all this stuff with mobile, Xbox is coming from mobile. You definitely have to see where these companies are going, guys. I would not be I want to be left caught out. And you're like, whoa, where's this going? And I'm gonna end with this. So, for anyone that thinks consoles are dead, I don't think consoles will be dead. I don't think it's gonna be like that. But I just think that the majority of people, I said on the planet, will be cloud gaming, which they are now, basically, if you think about it. With so it's already here. It's just so most people play games on their phone, and it's billions of dollars. So what I'm saying is not even that controversial, but I think consoles are gonna be a premium. They're gonna be like Lamborghinis. Like, we buy our, you buy your Toyota Camry. Maybe you want a 350Z if you want to go fast, but which is gonna be cloud gaming. Really good stuff, good performance, close to hardware. But computer, PC gaming, and console game are gonna be premiums. I predict consoles are gonna be upwards of $1,000. That's what I think. I think for these companies to break even, which they're not. A console costs. I think consoles are costing way more to make than what they get, so they have to sell you that per month service to break even. So for them to break even, they're gonna have to sell these consoles $1,000. What's the next thing? Think about 10 years from now. We're already talking about 120 FPS, right? Think about that. Already now, we're talking 120 FPS right now, right? What's it gonna be in 10 years? What machine is gonna do that? What machine is gonna do? So 120 FPS is probably gonna be standard in 10 years. So that machine has to do that. It has to be backwards compatible and all that. Start thinking about these things. So whatever machine is gonna do that is gonna be super powerful. I think $1,000 is gonna be a bargain. I think there's gonna be a premium for those items. But I think by then cloud infrastructure, internet, is gonna be able to handle it. But those are my thoughts, guys. Leave comments. Let me know what you guys think. This is definitely out the box. It's not news. It's just something that I see and I'm predicting. And I'm keeping this video, man. This is gonna be a receipt video. Listen, if I'm wrong, if it's just Xbox Series Y in 10 years and we're just doing this over again, plopping another $500-600, I just don't see it. I honestly just don't see it. But if anyone thinks otherwise or agrees, let me know in the comment section, guys. Thank you, guys. I'm out. Peace. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Later.